Launch titles. Games that are supposed to make a great first impression of a system, but rarely are launch titles actually good. Whether they're on consoles like the PlayStation 4 with Knack and Killzone Shadowfall, or handhelds like the Nintendo DS with Super Mario 64 DS. But that all changed when the Nintendo Switch launched. So, for today's episode of Trash or Treasure, I present to you The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Enjoy the show. Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new episode of Trash or Treasure, the series where I take a look at either a very beloved or hated game and give my own thoughts and opinions on it. For today's subject, it's going to be The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild is a 3D open-world action-adventure game developed and published by Nintendo and was released on March 3rd, 2017 for not only the Wii U but also as a launch title for the brand new Nintendo system at the time, the Switch. Ever since this game came out, people praised it to Kingdom Come, saying that it's one of, if not the best Zelda game of all time, even rivaling the likes of A Link to the Past and Ocarina of Time. Now that's a very bold claim if you ask me. It's been many months since I last played through this game, so will I still consider this a worthwhile treasure, or will I end up calling it a piece of trash? Let's find out, but first, we have a plot to summarize. So before I start with the plot of this game, I would like to state that this game is actually a sequel to another game that came out back in 2020. The game in question is Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity, and it's the prequel to Breath of the Wild. All you need to know is that Breath takes place 100 years after the events of Calamity. So with that out of the way, we open the game with a shirtless Link waking up in this Chamber of Resurrection, and after getting a shirt and pants on, we meet this old man who turns out to be the lingering will, no, not you, of the once king of Hyrule, King Rhoam, the father of Princess Zelda. He explains to Link that Calamity Ganon, who is sealed within Hyrule Castle, has been growing ever so stronger. So the king pleads with Link to slay Calamity Ganon before he destroys the world. And after getting the paraglider, this is where the game really starts to open up. I'm not joking here. After gliding down from the plateau, you could just waltz up to Hyrule Castle and try and kill Calamity Ganon in nothing but your underwear and whatever weapons you happen to come across along the way. If you don't believe me, check out this channel I found called 247 Mr. Nice Guy, where he tries to beat Breath of the Wild in some of the most hilarious ways possible. Anyways, back to the story. Now this is completely optional like I stated before, but you are also tasked with freeing the Divine Beast, no, not you guys, if you want the fight against Calamity Ganon himself to be easier. If you can beat the Ganon Blights to begin with that are within each of them, then you are granted a special ability from one of Link's fallen comrades from Age of Calamity. This includes a protective shield to reflect attacks, revive upon death along with some extra hearts, an upwards draft, and raining thunder as if you're Thor and Zeus combined. Anyways, we get to Hyrule Castle, face against Calamity Ganon, go to phase 2 and kill Pig Ganon with the power of the Bow of Life from Princess Zelda, free Zelda, and the game ends. So that's the story of Breath of the Wild. Sure, you can beat the game in a short amount of time, but I'd suggest going out of your way to free the Divine Beast, because it'll make your life a lot easier. But with the story out of the way, let's move on to gameplay. The gameplay of Breath of the Wild is like a family-friendly version of the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, just with a coat of Zelda paint on it. Link controls just great in this game, but there are also some special techniques that you can perform in battle. Of course, we have your standard environmental damage dealing attacks, but we also have this new flurry rush attack where time slows down and you can just lay the smackdown on your enemies. And as a Bayonetta fan, I can say I easily enjoy using this. Link is also accompanied by the stamina meter, meaning if it's not a standard attack or walking, it will drain. For example, climbing can drain your stamina meter. Sure, you could try and make it up by jumping, but that'll just drain it even faster than normal. We can also use the stamina meter for a wind-up attack, as well as go into bullet time when using a bow in mid-air. In terms of anything else Link can do, we have something called a Sheikah Slate. With this, we can create 2 different types of bombs, magnesis, stasis, cryosis, and finally a camera. We can also use amiibos, which I would use, but unfortunately I don't have any on me. Overall, I say the gameplay is pretty good. It may be very by the numbers, but with the added inclusions of special techniques and the Sheikah Slate, the gameplay is honestly, well, pretty great. Visually, I think the game still holds up for a Switch launch title. Colors are vibrant all over Hyrule, and the colors are simply great for the settings of Hyrule Castle. I'm not, however, a big fan of the bright flames during the final Ganon phase. I could just feel my retinas burning from looking at this. To me, I think the OST is pretty okay. It's primarily atmospheric, but much like what I said in my Last of Us video, it's not a bad thing, it's just not my thing. The only theme I can recall is the Phase 2 theme of Dark Beast Ganon. So let's recap everything I went over. The story is pretty good, gameplay is wonderful, OST is pretty okay, and the visuals are amazing. Here are my closing thoughts. Overall, I think Breath of the Wild is still a pretty great Switch launch title. Just from the amount of replayability the game offers, and the numerous ways people can try and beat this, Breath of the Wild is still what I consider pretty damn great, and I can't wait for Breath of the Wild 2, though Bayonetta 3 is still on my mind. It is with all that in mind, Breath of the Wild gets my score of a perfect 10 out of 10, with my seal of a perfect launch title. Like I said before, the replayability the game offers, along with the expansions that I haven't mentioned, on top of the vast open world for me to get lost in, Breath of the Wild is pretty damn awesome. As always, I want to know from you all, did you play Breath of the Wild? Did you enjoy it? And could you recommend this to a friend? Leave your answers, along with many more, down in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a like and share it with friends. Subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell to be notified when I make a new video. As always, my social media links are down below. I've been Howard Kid, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care, everybody.